All right, let's get into it. So we're going to be talking about deep sleepers for the fantasy football 2020 season. And these are guys that you can pick up on your waiver wire if you're in more of a shallow league. And these are guys that you can pick up in the later rounds that have a ton of upside. And there's also some guys on here that'll have a pretty safe floor that you can plug in week 1 right away. So let's get into it. The first guy that we have on the list is Joshua Kelley. Now, Joshua Kelley is the favorite to land the RB2 spot in the absence of Melvin Gordon. And this is a guy that early on in the offseason, I wasn't high on. I didn't really like his talent. I didn't really think that he could beat out Justin Jackson right away. But was I wrong? Apparently, he's been having a great training camp. He's reportedly already beat out Justin Jackson. Justin Jackson's been dealing with an injury the last couple of days. So that was just enough for him to beat him for the RB2 spot. And this team has a lot of vacated carries. With Melvin Gordon out, they have 191 vacated carries, and that's enough to go around for him and Justin Jackson. But the thing that I love most about Joshua Kelley is he's going to be the goal line back right away. He's going to be the goal line running back for this team right away. And what a lot of people don't realize is from weeks 5 to 17, when Melvin Gordon came back and he ended his holdout, Ekeler was a top 5 running back, but Gordon was also a top 12 running back. So both of these guys were RB1s on their teams when they both shared the backfield together. And a lot of people just don't realize that Ekeler isn't used in a normal, typical running back style. They line him up in the slot. They line him up and at the wide receiver position. They basically use him all over the field, and they don't really use him a lot for carries. And I think that's where Joshua Kelley comes in, and he pretty much replaces Melvin Gordon in that role. Now, am I saying he's going to be Melvin Gordon and be an RB1 right away? No, I'm saying he could be an RB2, and he could produce RB2 types of numbers when he gets adjusted into the league and when he officially beats out Justin Jackson, and Justin Jackson is basically out of the rotation. That is certainly in the cards for a guy like Joshua Kelley. We all know this Chargers running back system, whoever's there at the running back position is going to ball out. Justin Jackson averaged like 7 yards a carry last season. Ekeler has always balled out. Melvin Gordon has always balled out. Whoever is in that running back system is gonna do well. That's why I love Joshua Kelley this season. I think he could be an RB2 at some point in the season, and he's a perfect complement for Austin Ekeler. He's more of a bruiser, goal line back than a pass catching back like Austin Ekeler is. So I could definitely see Joshua Kelley replacing Melvin Gordon and being a top 20 running back sometime this season. And he's going super late in drafts, so you could get him as your RB4 or even RB5. And a lot of people don't know about him, but he's been having a great training camp, so go out there and get him. Another guy you should target in the later rounds is Jack Doyle. And the reason I love Jack Doyle this season is because Rivers loves to target the running back and the tight end position. He can't throw it more than 20 yards, so he's a dump-off king. Trey Burton just went down recently with an injury, so the tight end position is all his. He has absolutely zero competition in the tight end position. And Jack Doyle could very well be a top 10 tight end this season. He's not going to be a guy that gives you a lot of upside in this offense, but this is a guy who could be Phillip Rivers' go-to dump-off target early on, and he could easily be the number 2 guy on the offense in the passing game. So I love Jack Doyle. I would comfortably place him in my tight end position, and you could get this guy super late. I think he's going as the tight end 19, and I think he's gonna be a top 10 tight end this season just because he plays the tight end position for Phillip Rivers. So go ahead and get him. Receiver that is being super heavily slept on, and this is a rookie. This is Laviska Shenault, and the reason I always like Laviska Shenault is he can just ball no matter what he does. You could line him up at running back. The team has also reportedly said that they're going to put him at running back. They're going to put him at tight end. They're going to put him at receiver. Whatever it takes to give this guy the ball, they're going to do it because he's just a playmaker. It's just that simple. Now, he was, in my opinion, the biggest beneficiary from the Leonard Fournette release. The coaching staff has said they're going to use him in all kinds of way, and that's absolutely perfect for fantasy football. And this is a guy that I absolutely think that can break out in the second half of the season. Now, we've seen it before. These guys that are after the catch monsters always break out in the second half of the season. We've seen it with Deebo Samuel last year, AJ Brown. These guys who are monsters after the catch always break out in the rookie season because they know how to get yards, and they know how to make an instant impact for the team. Now, the only thing that I don't like about this guy is his injury concerns are there. He's already been reportedly kind of banged up in training camp hopefully he can last, and hopefully he can stay on the field the whole entire season, because I think if he does, he'll be an impact player in the second half of the season when he gets adjusted into the league. Now, with the Leonard Fournette release, who's going to be the starting running back for this team? And I think this is a deep sleeper, and with news reportedly coming out that Raekwon Armstead will be out for a while according to the Jaguars head coach, I think Ozigbo is an interesting guy we need to look at in the later rounds of fantasy football drafts. Raekwon Armstead has been inactive for a majority of training camp already. Jaguars head coach came out and said that he's going to miss a lot of time, so Ozigbo comes into play being the early down running back, with Chris Thompson being the pass catching back, and James Robinson could also come in and make a little bit of an impact for this team. Starting running back late in drafts is super valuable no matter what team it is. So Ozigbo can come in and maybe even produce low-end RB2 numbers on this team, and that's already valuable enough in the later double-digit rounds, especially when running back is super hard to come by. He's an intriguing late-round dart that could provide some value for your team. And if he ends up winning this starting role, he ends up beating James Robinson, you could have yourself a low-end RB2 on your bench, which is more than worth it in the double-digit rounds. And that's why I love Ozigbo later on. And if you strike out on Ozigbo, you can maybe take a shot on James Washington to see if he could win the starting role. But again, these two guys, their upside is capped because this offense is not going to be that great. But a starting running back on any given team in the double-digit rounds is more than worth it, and it's more than worth a shot just in case they can provide RB2 production. Some sleeper defenses / kicker that you need to pick up as well too, because that's part of the game as well. A sleeper defense, the Colts defense, they play the Jaguars week 1. What else do I need to say? Vegas has them as the worst team in the league. And a second sleeper defense, the Eagles, they play the Washington football team week 1. And again, they also have the Washington football team is projected to be the second worst team in the league. So both of these defenses are going kind of late in drafts, so you got to pay attention to their matchup. Colts and the Eagles. Colts play the Jaguars week 1, and the Eagles play the Washington football team week 1. Both are great defenses that you can stream week 1 in order to get good production out of your defense. And then a kicker that a lot of people aren't really aware of, and a kicker that's not really owned in a lot of leagues, is Ryan Succop. Now, Ryan Succop just won the starting job for the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers kicker, they just released Matt Gay. He beat out Matt Gay in this special teams group as their starting kicker. And why that's important is the Buccaneers are likely going to have a top 5 offense. I mean, with all these weapons, Tom Brady, Mike Evans, OJ Howard, they just got Leonard Fournette, Rojo, I mean, the list goes on. Cameron Brate, they have all these weapons. This offense is going to be a top 5 offense this year, and especially with all the shootouts they're going to get in this division in the NFC South. They play the Falcons twice a year. They play the Panthers twice a year. They play the Saints twice a year. In week 1, they play the Saints. Now, I want the kicker on this offense. I want the kicker on this potent offense, and this is a guy that you can get super late, and a guy that a lot of people don't know about because he's kind of going under the radar that he actually won the starting job for this Buccaneers team. So this is a guy you could get super late. You could probably even get him on your waiver wire. So if you want a borderline top 5 kicker on an elite offense, this is your guy. Ryan Succop is gonna be really good this year in this offense. He's not even that bad of a kicker. He actually didn't play that bad last year. So Ryan Succop is a kicker I suggest everyone goes out there and gets, unless you have one of these guys like Justin Tucker, the guy from the Chiefs, so I forgot his name. But if you don't have an elite kicker, or if you kind of waited on the kicker position and you don't really feel comfortable, get Ryan Succop on your team, because with the Buccaneers this season, whoever the kicker is, they're going to put up points and they're going to get a ton of opportunity in this offense. Go ahead and draft Ryan Succop, and if he's on your waiver wire and you don't feel comfortable with your kicker position week 1, put in Ryan Succop on your team week 1. They play the Saints, and it's expected to be a shootout according to Vegas. So I absolutely love all these players on this list. Target them all. And again, a lot of these guys might already be on your waiver wire list. So if you kind of have a guy on your bench you're not really feeling too comfortable with, and one of these guys is on your waiver wire, go ahead and pick them up, because I think they could have a lot of upside. And again, some of these guys you could even put in your lineup week 1 and expect production out of. So that's it for this video. This was deep sleepers for fantasy football for the 2020 season. I'll catch y'all later.